Deadly secrets of U.S. prisons, finally exposed. The hidden crisis inside U.S. prisons. What if I told you the deadliest secrets of America's prisons were never meant to see the light of day? Behind these walls, men and women live in conditions so extreme that federal monitors, journalists, and even correctional officers call them unfixable. From riots that left dozens dead, to gangs running entire facilities, to cover-ups of abuse that shake the justice system to its core. Tonight, those secrets are finally being exposed. The United States has more people behind bars than any other country on Earth. Over 2 million inmates, scattered across state prisons, federal penitentiaries, and county jails. But hidden within that staggering number is a darker truth. Many prisons are not just overcrowded. They are collapsing under the weight of violence, corruption, and neglect. Let's start with the first deadly secret. In many U.S. prisons, violence is not the exception. It's the rule. Federal reports revealed that in places like Rikers Island and Attica, stabbings, slashings, and assaults happen almost daily. In 2022, Rikers reported more than 4 to 20 stabbings and slashings in a single year, a number higher than most American cities. One former inmate, who asked to remain anonymous, told the New York Times, "You wake up and you don't know if you'll make it through the day. The guards can't protect you. Sometimes they're the ones setting you up." These words echo through countless lawsuits filed by prisoners, stories of guards turning a blind eye or even orchestrating attacks. But the violence isn't random. That leads us to the second deadly secret. Gangs don't just survive inside prison. In many facilities, they run them. From the Bloods and Crips to the Mexican Mafia and MS-13, gangs dictate who eats, who gets protection, and who lives to see another day. In 2015, AF, Deadly Secrets of U.S. Prisons, finally exposed. The riots that shook America. When control breaks down inside a prison, chaos spreads like wildfire. Riots are not just explosions of violence. They are desperate cries for survival, for recognition, for change. But America's history shows that these uprisings often end in blood, and the deadliest secrets of the system are often buried beneath the rubble. It began in New York, September 9, 1971. At Attica Correctional Facility, more than 1,200 inmates took control of the prison, seizing guards and demanding better living conditions. Their cries were simple: food, medical care, and human dignity. But what followed became one of the bloodiest prison confrontations in U.S. history. For 4 days, negotiations dragged on. Observers, including civil rights attorneys, were brought in. But on September 13th, state police stormed the prison in a hail of gunfire. By the time the smoke cleared, 43 men were dead, both guards and prisoners. The official narrative claimed hostages were killed by inmates. But later reports revealed a darker truth. Most were killed by law enforcement bullets. The Attica Uprising exposed what prisoners had long claimed. Overcrowding, brutality, and dehumanization were not isolated incidents. They were systemic. Yet, instead of reform, many prisons across America doubled down on force, building a culture where riot squads and lockdowns replaced dialogue and change. Fast forward to February 2, 1980, at the New Mexico State Penitentiary in Santa Fe. What began as a late-night guard takeover turned into the most savage prison riot in American history. Inmates armed with tools and makeshift weapons unleashed violence so extreme that even hardened convicts described it as hell on earth. For 36 hours, inmates hunted each other. Gang rivalries played out with shocking brutality. At least 33 prisoners were murdered, many mutilated beyond recognition. Guards taken hostage were beaten, terrorized, and forced to watch killings. Survivors later recalled the smell of smoke, blood, and burned flesh filling the air. The Santa Fe riot revealed how unprepared and negligent the state had been. Overcrowding, poor training, and total lack of security allowed the prison to collapse into chaos. Federal reports described the scene as the ultimate failure of a correctional system. But instead of nationwide reform, the cycle repeated. April 1993, Lucasville Prison, Ohio. Another storm erupted. Over 400 inmates seized control of cell blocks in a standoff that lasted 11 days, one of the longest prison uprisings in U.S. history. At its heart, racial tensions, overcrowding, and forced tuberculosis testing that inmates claimed violated their rights. During the siege, inmates killed 9 fellow prisoners and 1 guard. Negotiations stretched on, but what emerged was not just about violence. It was about exposure. Inmates broadcast demands to television networks, forcing America to confront what was happening inside its prisons in real time. From Attica to Santa Fe to Lucasville, these uprisings exposed the cracks in the foundation of U.S. prisons. But they were only the beginning, because behind closed doors, something even deadlier was rising. The growth of prison gangs that extended their reach far beyond the bars, controlling entire cities from inside their cells. Deadly secrets of U.S. prisons, finally exposed. When gangs take over, when most people think of gangs in prison, they imagine small cliques fighting for survival. But the truth is far more chilling. Inside America's prisons, gangs have become organized syndicates, running drug markets, assassinations, and extortion rackets that reach far beyond razor wire. In some cities, prison gangs don't just influence the streets, they own them. It began in the 1950s, inside California's dual vocational institution. A group of inmates, mostly young Latino men from East Los Angeles, banded together for protection. They called themselves La MA, the Mexican Mafia. Within decades, this prison-born group became one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the United States. By the 1980s, the Mexican Mafia was dictating who could sell drugs in Los Angeles neighborhoods. Street gangs had to pay tribute, taxes, or face brutal retribution. And all of this was directed from inside prison cells, through coded letters known as kites, or whispered orders passed in visiting rooms. Not far behind, the Aryan Brotherhood rose in the 1960s. Formed inside San Quentin, this white supremacist gang grew into a feared army of fewer than 10,000 members. Despite their small numbers, the Aryan Brotherhood is linked to hundreds of murders, ordered both inside and outside prison walls. Joining these gangs comes with one rule: blood in, blood out. To earn membership, initiates must spill blood, often killing another inmate. And once inside, there's no way out except death. This brutal loyalty has allowed prison gangs to maintain order where correctional systems fail. Other gangs, like MS-13, transformed prison yards into command centers for transnational crime. Born from Salvadoran immigrants in Los Angeles, MS-13 uses U.S. prisons as headquarters to coordinate drug smuggling, extortia, America's supermax. For the most dangerous prisoners in America, gang leaders, terrorists, cartel bosses, there is one place designed to silence them forever: ADX Florence. Built in the shadow of the Colorado Rockies, this supermax prison is the deadliest secret of all, a place the government calls escape-proof, but survivors call a living death. Here, inmates spend 23 hours a day in solitary confinement, locked inside cells made of concrete and steel. Human contact is reduced to whispers through vents or brief exchanges with guards. Even recreation takes place in cages the size of parking spaces. Psychologists have called ADX a clean version of hell. The inmates here are names America never forgets: Cartel Kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, Una Bomber Ted Kaczynski, Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, Al-Qaeda conspirator Zacarias Moussaoui. The prison is designed to bury them alive, their influence erased, their voices silenced. But inside ADX lies an even deeper secret: the H-Unit, a section where prisoners are kept under special administrative measures, SAMs, so restrictive they cannot speak to other inmates, write letters without approval, or even see their own legal notes without being monitored. For some, It is a place without time, without hope, without end. Former ADX warden Robert Hood described the prison bluntly. It's not designed for rehabilitation. It's designed for people to die there. Inmates report hallucinations, paranoia, and voices in the walls. For many, the punishment is not just isolation. It is madness itself. Over the years, lawsuits have accused ADX of violating human rights, housing mentally ill inmates in conditions that drive them deeper into psychosis. In 2012, a class action lawsuit revealed that men who begged for treatment were left to mutilate themselves in despair. The government settled, but the walls remained.